Hi there, welcome to today's painting class. In this class, we are going to paint a daffodil with acrylic paints. And if you're new here, grab your free guide in the description below. And there you can also find a link to the sketch and the paint colors that I'm using and the brushes that I'm going to be using. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a size 0 round brush. And let's go ahead and put some darker value into the flower. And let's start with this daffodil at the bottom. So I'm going to start with a really dark color. This is the burnt umber. I'm going to start putting that in as a dark shadow at the base. And then let's grab some burnt sienna and start feathering that in around it. So we're taking this darker yellow color and then feathering that in. And then we can get lighter. So take this straight yellow color and let's start putting that around that area. Okay, so as we come out, it's going to get lighter. And I can take some of this pastel yellow and let's put that in. It's going to lighten the value. And then I'll take a little bit of white and put that in as well. Then let's come back to this burnt sienna color and add some brown around the edges and sort of blend that down so that it's creating a little bit of a shadow. Okay, and then we'll take a little bit of that color and bring it around on this side. And then let's take the lighter yellow and then put a layer of that in. And then we could take the really bright yellow and then start putting that around the outside edge. Okay, so now let's focus on this area here. So I'm going to take some of this burnt sienna color and start putting that in as a shadow for a darker value. Then I'll pick up the yellow and start getting lighter. And then I'll pick up this cooler, lighter yellow. We'll start putting that in. Okay, I might take a little bit of white and highlight that area a little bit. Okay, so now let's focus on these leaves here, or the petals rather. So I'm going to take some of this purple color. This is a nice shadow color that we can use. So it's just sort of a grayish purple. Then I'm going to pick up the bright yellow. And then we'll get lighter with this white, this yellow that has a lot of white in it. Okay, so then let's do that with the next petal. So I'm going to take this nice grayish purple, put that in, pick up the warm yellow, and then the really light yellow. And then we can do that with this one down here. So I'm going to use some of this burnt sienna color to make the shadow. Just going to give us a little bit of variety of color. And then pick up the warm yellow and sort of bring that down. Then I might take some of the shadow color and put that on the edge. It just gives us a little variety. Okay, so we'll do the next one here. So I'm going to take that purple shadow color and we'll put that along this petal. And then pick up some of the really bright yellow. Okay, I think I'm going to rinse off my brush, just because some of those darker colors are getting mixed in there. So we'll pick up this light yellow, start putting that in, and while the paint is still wet, it's going to blend together nicely. Okay, and then let's work on this flower. So same idea. We'll take the darker shadow, then the warm yellow, and then the cool yellow. Okay, so now let's work on this flower up here. So I want to start with that really dark burnt umber color, and we'll put that in around the center. And then we'll switch to the burnt sienna. And then I'm going to pick up some of this warm yellow. See if we can start transitioning that. And I'm moving my brush strokes in the direction of form. So in that kind of outward motion that the flower is moving. Okay, so I'm going to add some straight bright yellow. And then I'm going to mix some white in there and see if we can get sort of a lighter value with some of that white. And then let's pick up this cool yellow, start putting that in. Okay, so then I'm going to add a little bit of white paint. Let's take some white and put that around as kind of a highlight in some of these areas that we want to pop a little bit. Okay, and then I want to come back with some shadow. So I'll take this burnt sienna, and while it's still wet, let's just add a little bit of shadow around the outside edge. It's just going to give it a little more contrast and a little bit more definition. Okay, so now let's work on the petals. So I'm going to start with a shadow color at the tip of this petal. And then I'm going to pick up the light yellow and come down. And then I'm going to pick up that warm yellow and bring that on this left side here. Okay, so let's work on this one. So we'll take that shadow color, put that along the bottom. And then I'll pick up the warm yellow, put that in, and then the cool lighter yellow. Okay, and then we'll do this one here. So I'm going to switch my shadow color. I'm going to use a little bit of this burnt sienna. It's because it's on the bottom. Sometimes it's a little bit darker. Okay, let's pick up the warm yellow. And then we can pick up the light yellow. And allow those to mix together. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of white for a highlight here. Okay, and then let's do this petal underneath. So let's take some of this bright yellow here. And then I'm going to get lighter. And then put some white paint right here as a highlight. Okay, and then we have this petal here. So I'm going to take some of the burnt sienna and bring that around. And bring some to the tip as well. And let's pick up the warm yellow. Start putting that in. And then I'll pick up the cool yellow. Okay, I'm just gonna blend it a little bit. All right, now let's do this one over here. So I'm gonna put this burnt sienna on the right side. Then we'll pick up some warm yellow and then some cool yellow. I'm kind of running out of that cool yellow paint. We'll see if we have enough. Okay, so now let's do this area here. So I'm gonna pick up some of this burnt sienna and let's start putting in a little bit of a shadow. Then let's pick up the burnt umber and add a darker shadow at the bottom. Then I'm gonna pick up some bright yellow and then some of the lighter yellow. Okay, and then I'm actually gonna pick up some green. You can put some green towards the bottom. This is sort of a flower that hasn't fully bloomed yet. We'll take some of the dark green and add that into the bottom. Okay, and now I want to transition into a yellow color. I'm going to get some more of this light yellow and put this on the palette. Okay, so let's start putting this lighter yellow in. It's mixing with the green here. Okay, then I'm going to take some of the warmer yellow and feather that in as well. And then add some white paint and allow that to sort of blend the two together. Okay, so that's really bright and vibrant. So now let's work on the stems, and for that we're going to work with our green colors. So let's start with a dark value. I'm going to take the burnt umber and mix that with some of the dark green. And let's work on this one first. We'll put that in as a dark shadow color. And then I'll add some of the lighter green. Try to put that on top. We'll let it mix together. And we'll do the same thing over on this side. Get a dark color. And we'll get lighter. And work wet on wet. Okay, and then for this one, let's add our dark color. And then get lighter. Okay, and then let's do this leaf here. So I'll take a dark color and we can put that at the top. And then bring it down this way, then sort of feather it. And we can put a little bit on this side too. And then we'll take the lighter green and start putting that in. And we're hoping that it'll mix wet and wet. Okay, and then I want a light value, so I'm going to mix some of this green with quite a bit of white and see if we can mix up really light value here. And then put that in. Okay, then you could use that also in some of the tops of the other stems where you want to put a highlight. I'm going to take this dark color and bring that back in this area. And then bring this down. Okay, so now hopefully the other areas of the flowers have dried a little bit. So I'm going to put in some final details here. Let's take the 0 round brush. So you could go back, and if you wanted to add a little bit more definition to some of these flowers, you could go back with a darker color, maybe a little bit of this burnt sienna, and just kind of go around the edge and bring a little bit more definition to the flower. Okay, so for the center areas, let's take a little bit of white paint and then take a little bit of this light yellow, and then try to get the paint. I'm sort of swirling the brush so that I could get the paint on the very tip of that brush to get a really thin line. So let's see if we could put just maybe 3 really thin lines and then little dots, and that's going to be the stamen of the flower. And if you're having trouble getting a thin line with this brush, with a round brush, you can switch to a script liner brush, which can give you an even thinner line. Okay, and try to make them an uneven number so that the eye doesn't get stuck bouncing between even numbers. Okay, so then at this point you could put any final highlights that you wanted to. You take some white paint and go around some of the edges if you wanted to make them pop a little bit more. Any areas that you really want to highlight. Okay, so I think we will call this painting complete. Thank you so much for painting along with me. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials. Get your free guide in the description below, and we'll see you next time. Bye.